I'm Maddie.
And I'm Amber, and we're Witches Talking Tarot. And tonight, we are talking about divination, spirit boards and or Ouija boards, as well as pendulums and pendulum boards. So, yay, really excited for this evening's episode. We've got some incense going, a little cleansing incense, because we've got my personal spirit board and planchette back here, as well as my pendulum board. So we may be a little bit superstitious witches, but better safe than sorry.
Yes, exactly. So I'm really excited to talk about this topic, particularly the pendulums. That's how I pronounce them. You say pendulum?
Yep.
Pendulum, I'm sure you're probably correctly.
Yeah.
Or pronouncing it correctly.
The pit and the pendulum. I love that. It's I believe it's an Edgar Allan Poe story, but it's a Vincent Price movie from Vincent Price heyday. It's very cringy. I watched it when I was a kid. But, I'm sure there's a lot of people who say pendulum because, again, a lot of it has to do with the way you pronounce things.
Oh, absolutely.
As a person.
Then again, I say...
keep talking. We're good.
Some people say Samhain instead of Samhain. So I think it really just depends on... there are correct pronunciations. There are. But I don't know. It just depends, I guess.
A lot of it is, some people, the written word is how you learn a word.
Right.
And,
which I could explain why I call it pendulum, because it's with a D,
Right, yeah.
But everybody I've talked to has really called it pendulum. Mm-hmm. But,
that's where it, the reading something versus, hearing it. That really comes into play with pronunciation. I'm sure there's a lot of people who say
and do you call it Ouija or do you call it something else?
I call it Ouija and Ouija. Because I've heard a lot of people say it's actually supposed to be Ouija.
It sounds so southern. Don't play with that Ouija board. Kind of like, what is it?
And it's so funny.
Missouri.
Because I hear Ouija in the same way, because it's spelled with an A at the end, right? So to me, it's why... When we say Ouija board, why do we pronounce it Ouija board when it's spelled with an A at the end, not an I at the end, right?
When I hear Ouija,
to me,
I'm like, Luigi.
Yeah, right? So, when I heard somebody say it's Ouija, I was like, oh. And, I don't even think they said it's Ouija. They were just
pronouncing it.
And I was like,
excuse me.
Okay, that sounds cool. Yeah. And I say it both ways. Not even intentionally. It depends on how it comes out of my mouth.
Right. And there's no... Well, maybe there is a specific way to say it, but I'm not going to judge anybody for saying it however they say it.
Hey, if you know, the facts, but at the same time, there is... when it comes to the name Ouija, there's a fact that was released because it sounded cool, and then there's really what it was that, picked the name, you know what I mean? Because, I read that there is a fact, that's not real, that Ouija was named for the French and German words for yes. So we and ja.
That's
right,
neat.
But that's not true.
It sounds cool.
Yeah, no, it sounds cool, but it's actually Elijah Bond, the inventor of the Ouija board. He was playing around with it, and he asked a spirit what he should Ouija. Call it, and that's what it spelled out. It was Ouija. Yeah, that's what I read. So a brief history, and then Maddie's going to cover a how-to on these tools. So we're going to start with the pendulum board because it is from before pre-recorded history. People have been using pendulums for more than just divination since before we have been writing down anything about people or recording people as a history thing. I think you had mentioned an ancient use that I hadn't thought of when we were kind of talking about this
Oh, the
before.
pregnancy one?
Oh, the pregnancy
Yes.
one, yeah. So pendulums have been used for medical things, like to
Ailments.
pregnancy, to tell what gender the baby will be, to identify where ailments are coming from in the body.
Which is crazy because I actually had someone do that to me at PPD.
That's
it wasn't
awesome.
with a it wasn't with a pendulum. It was with a drum. But basic
same kind of
thing.
concept.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
That's the energy reverberations.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really.
It was very intense. It was nice.
Yeah.
She said,
That's lovely.
"Is there anything wrong with your knees?" I said, "No, not yet." So, am I have issues with my knees later?
Well, then you know she was right.
Right.
But it's also been used for finding things, as well as dowsing for water. More commonly, dowsing rods are used to find water, but pendulums have also been used. And
I would love to talk about those at some point.
Yeah, dowsing rods. Yeah.
You know, you don't
Dowsers.
turn those, do you? You don't hold.
You're supposed, to my understanding, I've never used them. You hold them in your hand loosely, and they will either cross or go further apart to tell you, if they cross, I think that means you're getting closer. If they go further apart, I think that means you're getting
people
further
use them
away.
to talk to spirits as well, and I can honestly say I've never used one of those.
I have been to a ritual where those were utilized.
Really?
But I
have no experience, but I would love to learn.
It was really interesting to watch.
Well, it's not like something you feel a connection to per se, or
it was being done as a doing divination for not necessarily the weather per se, but for the coming season.
Oh,
so it wasn't anything directed at myself.
right.
And I was just so thrown off by the appearance of the dowsing rods. I was like, what is this?
Oh, really?
This is
I've
new.
seen them a lot in movies and
Yeah.
in TV,
Well,
but not in person.
And I can't even say I've seen them a lot in movies or TV.
I used to watch
seen it
Ghost
a little
Hunters.
bit.
So
okay.
they use dowsing rods
Okay.
often,
Okay.
or Ghost Adventures.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
in those ghost shows.
The ghost shows that I watched were earlier Discovery Channel ones, not so much the reality
I
TV
love that.
ones.
Okay,
They used to scare the
Ghost
fuck out of
Adventures is so funny. That guy Zach Baggins. They always lock this one guy, Aaron, in like the most horrific. Like this girl was
My girls
brutally
loved those
murdered.
shows.
Brutally murdered. Aaron, you're gonna stay the night in here, and he's like, "Why me?"
Ooh.
And they're like, "Cause we're
Aaron,
busy
whose
over
Cheerios
here."
you pissing?
Right. They're always like, "Okay, Aaron, you're gonna get into this freezer they have in the morgue, and we'll
I wonder
let
if
you
he's
out."
like low-key the bravest one, and everybody's like, Aaron, you got to take one for the team.
Right, and we'll let you out in a little bit.
Right. So you pretend you're scared, but really we don't want to stay in that room, so you got to do it.
Yeah, right.
That's too funny.
Oh, poor guy.
So pendulums have been used for dowsing or for identifying ailments or for divination purposes for as long as we don't know, because they've been doing it since before we've been recording it. We use pendulums current day for lots of things. They were the first reliable timekeeping piece was pendulum based. Now Ouija boards are
newer.
They are much newer. Spirit boards or planchette writing is newer. It is as new as ancient China. It's the first known use of planchette writing, which is known as Fuji. It's Fuji, so I hope Fuji is the appropriate pronunciation.
Like the water. No.
Yeah, or the camera film.
No,
right?
I'm just kidding. I don't think that's how the water.
Yeah, it's Fiji, I think.
Okay, yeah,
you said Fuji, and I was like, yeah. And then I was like,
Rich
wait.
water.
After I agreed, as soon as I agreed, I was like, wait.
Every time I think of Fiji, I think of this video I've seen. It was like this little kid. He's like 6 years old, and he's like, rich water. This is my rich water. He's like, Mom bought it for me. It was $4.
That's hilarious. I think of Fiji water, and I literally think of the Truman Show.
Oh, really?
Because didn't he always want to go to Fiji?
I never watched the Truman Show.
It's sad. I didn't watch it a whole lot.
I see it on TV, but I never put it on.
Yeah. But so 1100 AD is the first known use of planchette writing, which in ancient China was called Fuji. And this, dear viewers, is a planchette. For those of you who are listening, you can check out our Instagram. It'll have pictures of the divination tools we have on display for our YouTube viewers.
Yes.
So that's...
don't mind me. I did not mean to interrupt, but I just looked at
No.
myself and I'm like, holy shit, I did not put on makeup today.
Yeah, no,
I have had
like
such
low
a bad
key.
day.
I thought about I was like, oh shit, I gotta like fix up my face because I've been working all day. And then I was like,
I got home to you being there, and I just didn't even think about it. So I apologize. This is all natural Maddie.
I told your husband, I was like, because when I pulled down your street, I saw your taillights blinking, and I thought, well, that's weird. But then when I pulled up to turn around in the neighbor's driveway, I saw your head pop out, and I was like, oh, Maddie's getting something out of the car. And then you went inside, and the lights were still blinking, and I was like, oh no, I still got to tell them that their lights are blinking. And then Bryson popped out.
Right.
And I was like,
well, we just got our car back, so I was like, celebratory, trip to Taco Bell, gonna get a burrito. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
So anyway, all natural to this week. I apologize.
After work, Amber.
It's been a long day for both of us.
Yes.
So
been a long
Ouija's
week.
in ancient China?
Ancient China is the first known use of planchette writing, which is using a planchette and and they don't specify how Fuji planchette writing works, right? So I don't know for sure if it uses a board or there's another way of planchette writing where there is a pencil or something that's stuck in the middle.
That.
Yeah, and
it writes it out.
Well, it's like an automatic writing thing.
I want to learn.
You just kind of make stuff. You just keep going and going and going, and spirit is supposed to take over, and then you will have a message.
I want to learn that so bad, but I'm so scared.
I'm so afraid to do automatic writing. I don't want to.
But it looks so exactly
Paranoid
because
witches.
you're literally letting them in to you.
Yes, I know.
That's why. But it
exactly.
looks so interesting.
Yes, exactly. Especially as a writer and as an artist, because like I can start doodling
do it.
and then see what happens. You know what I mean? And honestly, like when I do my sigils,
I think I talked to you. I think I talked to you about that. I was like, I bet that would be I feel like that is an unopened gift of yours, absolutely, with you being a artist. That just sounds like either drawings, like you said, sigils, or even writings. I feel like I just something tells me.
Yeah,
but
and I really want to. I'm drawn to, but it is terrifying because paranoid witches.
Yeah, I am. Not everybody is, but
yeah, I am, and we'll get into later why I am. I have very, very firm reasons.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I do too.
There's
Not
a reason for the
episode.
incense, which we haven't had going in previous episodes. But so I will wrap up the history by saying, no, it's not you. This is what the show's about. Like, that's where it came from. Yeah, it's our talk. Yeah. But so that you can get into telling people like how these things are used, I just want to wrap up the history by saying the spirit board, as we see them in our Western day and age. For anybody who is an Eastern viewer listening, thank you. We don't mean to discount you. We are just Western.
Right.
Like,
so we
live in America.
we typically focus on
Yeah,
Western.
we're just telling you that's where we come from. So I don't know what this looks like to people outside of the Americas, you know. But this typical spirit board, it became popularized in about 1886. And then in 1890 is when Elijah Bond, the inventor, created the Ouija board, which is the Hasbro playing game that is copywritten.
Who thought that was a good idea?
We'll get into later. I mean, we can cover it later or now.
I don't know if that's considered pop culture.
Under uses, how to. I don't know.
I mean, I just know I saw one with it was like 8+ years old, and it's like you have to be 8 years old to summon a fucking demon into your house. Are you fucking?
So it really wasn't seen as like a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
For a long time, like people would do it in their living rooms, like as it was like a parlor show.
Right, like in the 50s. I can just see people.
Well, and by the 50s, it was not cool.
Oh,
it was like the church was like, that's demonized.
Right, I can see that.
But in like the late 1800s to the early 1900s, people held seances in their living rooms. Like that was
I can see a man standing like this with his scotch.
Oh my God. If I could have been alive back then, like just having seances in my living room, because like that's the thing to do. And I got the awesome flapper hat on.
Oh my gosh.
And like, Oh man. Oh.
I like I said, I can
seriously
just see,
feel like I had a past life in the 20s.
I don't know why I'm thinking
Cigarette on the lawn
President
thing.
Theodore Roosevelt, and he's like this with his scotch just watching, and then you've got, like you said, cigarette on the lawn thing,
big lawn
lounging
one.
on the fainting couch.
Yeah, some guy with a monocle. Just
Oh my God, yeah, right.
monocle.
I'm kind of digging this.
Yeah.
I'm like kind of getting
Okay,
into
seance party.
Oh right. Okay, maybe
Happening.
we should do that.
Yeah,
at
absolutely.
Amber's house.
Yes. Yes, I will have all the protective frankincense I can find.
Right. Just the whole room's all smoked out. And
Right?
it's like,
In my cauldron.
right.
Walk around.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. Have mugwort.
Oh my God, we'll have to
wormwood,
record
oh
it
my
and
God,
show them.
that'll
and
be
just like Miss
special
Cleo.
episode.
Yeah, special episode. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I'd say Halloween, but I'm not brave enough to do it then.
No,
not happening.
We'll probably do
Sorry,
it on
guys.
a random Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
So the how-to. So this is really interesting. I was talking about this with Amber. It is the IDO, is that
IDEO.
IDEO, okay.
IDEO,
IDEO. Monitor response, which is muscles that you don't even know are working. It's almost like a subconscious thing. And
Right.
you don't even really feel them working, but they are.
Right, and
you
it's
know?
like messages from your subconscious, because your subconscious
Yes.
is what powers that motor
Exactly.
response.
Well, like, and when you hold the pendulum like this, you know, a lot of people don't like, well, some people don't like to do that. You can buy a thing, you know, but you know you're moving it.
I feel the need. You keep talking.
Please
I'm
do
going to
it.
do a thing.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm scared.
No, I'm not going to ask questions. I'm just going to show them while you talk about holding the pendulum.
So you
and
hold
doing
it, and you have blood vessels in your fingers that are pulsing, and you have little muscles in your arms and in your fingers that are moving, and you don't even necessarily feel it. We have constant muscle. We have muscles that are constantly moving, even in our sleep.
Right,
I
that's how you
remember-
keep breathing when you're
Right,
asleep. Like
exactly.
sometimes I scared myself as a kid because I was like, what if I forget how to breathe while I'm asleep?
Well, like
Sorry,
I
Amber's
remember
weird.
and that's like yes. Oh, it's saying no. It's like no.
You can't forget. Oh, that's so cool.
That is so funny. I
My
wonder.
body literally just said, no, I can't forget how to breathe in my sleep.
That is so funny. I'm so
Holy
interested now.
shit.
Was it your body? Was it Amber's body?
Either way, something. But continue talking.
I got distracted. I'm like,
I'm
what's
like
going on?
so shook in a good way.
But like, you know, it's. I think that's pretty much the gist of it. Let's be
Well, I
clear.
mean, the bottom line is, right, that
Well, it has to work through you. Whether
right.
you're trying to channel your higher self, which we'll get into with usages, or whether you're trying to channel a spirit, either way, it has to work through you. Similar to with the cards, you shuffle the cards, they're working through your hands with
Right.
your energy, which is frightening to some people, you know?
Right.
Which is
which is why when you're using the Ouija board as a group of individuals,
It's more
everybody says,
comfortable.
well, it is more comfortable, and everybody says, you're moving it, I'm not moving it.
Yes.
When really, it's everybody has that same motor
Collectively,
response.
yes.
And you're like, the planchette is under everybody's fingertips, you know? Everybody's got a light hold on it. And then your body is jittering this way, and this one's body is jittering this way, and like everybody feels each other's movements, but they don't realize it's like an unknown movement from you. They just feel like something's pushing it that way. So, oh, you're supposed to take it that way because the spirits are telling you to.
Right.
And maybe they are, but they're literally moving
doing it
through your
you.
body.
Which is why I think that I prefer the usage with the pendulum.
Also pentagrams, they're
Yes,
cool. I love them.
But I prefer the usage with the pendulum to not necessarily channel spirits, but to channel your higher self and your own intuition. I was reading up a lot on that with the pendulums. You know, instead of like holding it up and asking simple questions like, is my hair red or whatever, and then, you know, make sure you kind of get the vibe, and then eventually you can ask questions along the lines of, should I stay in this toxic situation? Like,
well, like you should definitely the basis for pendulums. Like for one, if you're using a pendulum board like this, you don't have to ask those questions, right? Because you already have that.
Oh, you do.
You already have the yes, no, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're not using a pendulum board, you can either say things like, my hair is red, and then you know which way is yes,
which
or
way is
no. But you can also just say like which way is yes, and then see, and then say which way is no, and see if you don't have a pendulum board.
Well,
but
when I
also,
say
it
that,
works
I
best
mean
with,
like
yes
getting
or no
the
questions.
vibe, making sure that it's saying yes, like telling the truth.
Okay, but I'm saying like you can do it without the pendulum board, and you do what you're saying to get the vibe. You can ask it either questions like what you said,
simple
is my hair
ones,
red, or just tell me which way is yes, which way is no, to get the vibe with the pendulum and things. So like I'm just saying like you can do that without having this board. For those who don't know that you can use the pendulum without having the board. The board is a tool to use with the pendulum. You know what I mean?
And honestly, you can use your piece of fucking paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you need something written down so you can physically see, you can use a piece of paper. I don't have a board.
And they have printable PDFs online these days. Like, for sure.
It doesn't make it any less legit. It's all about your intention.
Right. And if you don't want to have that at all, like I said, you can just ask the same questions.
Usually it's this way for me anyway. Yes, this way for no. Like your head shakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just but using it to connect with your higher self and your own intuition.
Yeah.
Maybe asking hard questions for yourself that you know the answer to, but you don't know the answer to. Like the one example I used is, should I stay in this toxic situation? It's asking yourself, not a spirit.
Right.
You already know the answer.
Right.
You probably shouldn't stay. But it's always nice to have that sort of validation
from your subconscious. And it's best to stick with like yes or no type questions. If you ask open-ended questions of the pendulum, it doesn't, now granted, like this pendulum board here.
How are you going to write it down with one hand?
Well, I mean that too, and also like if it swipes past one letter, does that mean it's grabbing that letter for a word or not? You know what I mean? So like asking open-ended questions for it to use, like, because like I said, this one specifically has the alphabet and numbers around it, so that could be used in your divination. But
it's not
it makes it murky,
stop, you know?
Right? It makes it very difficult. Whereas the yes or no, it's very clear.
Exactly. So I prefer yes or no questions.
Same.
Like you said, and you can add the question mark if you want to, but there's usually just yes or no. I guess, could you say you could do the same thing?
Well, and I mean, honestly, the question mark, it totally makes me think about magic 8 balls, which
I love magic. You could use it like a magic 8 ball.
I know, you totally can, which is where I brought it up when we were talking about pendulums. I was like, oh.
I do love the magic 8 ball.
I did love the magic 8 ball. I begged for one as a child.
What I read up when I was doing...
it.
Oh, no, that sucks. What I read up when I was doing research on the pendulum, specifically with your higher self, is that's something you kind of want to do by yourself. Because you're focusing on your own intuition.
Right, and you don't want energy from others.
Energies, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas the Ouija board, a lot of people don't like doing it by themselves. And some people even suggest not doing it by yourself.
Right, yeah. A lot of people, especially those who maybe think you could find some dangerous stuff when you start peering through the veil with the Ouija board. Additionally, as I was saying to you, like from the standpoint of the way that the planchette works along with the ideomotor response, to do the Ouija board by yourself, you absolutely 1,000,000% know that you're the one moving it. And so there is less that subconscious whatever. I'm sorry if I just kicked you.
No, it's okay. Because you're making a point of not moving it yourself.
Exactly.
So you're less likely to, okay, I hear you.
Yeah, but like when it's a group of you, like I said, you're reading off each other's, body cues. And so if there are spirits channeling through, then it's everybody's collective energy, So
I would definitely say pendulums are more for personal readings, and that's not even just for trying to connect with your higher self. I suppose that's even with connecting with the spirits.
You can
it's since it's channeling directly through you versus like you said, assuming you're using a group, you're going to be doing it with multiple people, so you're channeling multiple energies rather than the energy just coming from your fingertips, right?
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, hopefully. It made sense to me.
It made sense to me, too. I think that's why I prefer pendulums. Because
Well, and I
Oh my
mean, so
God.
they don't have the connotation, which we'll get into here, like, I guess, during this conversation, because we're in usages, our own
Right.
experiences, then move into pop culture, right? So, like, the usages for the pendulum board, historically speaking, granted, they have been outlawed after Christianization of lots of places.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I believe it.
Did I make any specific notes? No. But yeah, pendulum boards and spirit boards both have been outlawed in their respective locales when certain religions took over or what have you. And any kind of divination is seen as witchcraft under the church, you know. So even pendulum boards. Now, using a pendulum for scientific or mathematical purpose is fine.
You say
but
that.
The second you used it for divination is where it was a no-go.
You say that, and I think in my mind, like, one of the things that people were using pendulums with their wedding rings for the, you know, the gender reveal. So I can just see someone keeping a secret pendulum, like, with the ring. You know what I mean? Like,
Nobody sees.
Right, exactly.
But, so, usages. I really see the main usage for the Ouija board as entertainment. But if you truly are trying to channel a spirit through a group setting, this would be the best way to channel a spirit, I believe. If you are specifically directing the spirit to move this planchette that you guys are all touching, you know what I mean? I feel like that's, you know, like you mentioned, like with a pendulum, you can't, this is not a multi-person use thing.
No, it's not. I mean,
well, table turning, but table turning is also listed under the same category as Ouija and spirit boards.
You know,
but like group-wise, I can't think of a whole lot of divination for speaking directly to, outside of, you had mentioned like electromagnetic stuff where we use voice recorders to pick up disembodied voices that you can't hear, but the electromagnetic stuff can pick up the voice, you know. That's the only other way I can personally think of, and this is my own personal thought. What do you think? Like, what would you say is probably the best way for a group of people to jointly commune with a spirit and like get a message specifically from a spirit, if that's what you're trying to do?
Probably the Ouija board, or you know.
I just wanted to, like, because sometimes I get tunnel vision, so I always like to ask.
No,
things,
I definitely agree, because and you said other than the you know, technology,
right? Because that's one I didn't think of when I said like this is the only way, and then I thought, well, you know, because that is a thing
with
that we
pendulums,
have now.
It's just so hard because it's such a personal thing. Like, you see people selling pendulum readings. No hate if you do that, but it just seems too personal to me to be able to.
Right. Because, I mean, now granted, I could ask my spirit guide questions about you, but
how
isn't
can I
more
connect
effective
with your spirit
Right.
guide? You know, exactly.
Right. Well, and I mean, granted, in a theory, right? So let's say, in theory,
drugs,
spirit guides are
you can
all
connect,
connected.
like, if you get to. Sorry, I mean, that just popped in my head.
Well, I mean, mushrooms are always useful in religious practices, as far as my religious practices go. They're religious practices. Anyway, sorry.
I don't do drugs.
I don't do drugs either. But if I am going to have a religious experience, it's religious. I'm going to keep using that word.
Peyote.
Religious. It is religious practice.
So my own experience with the Ouija board has not been successful, and I say that because I've done it with groups of friends, and I feel like they're always just, you know, trying to fuck around, and, you know, I understand where that could open up different things for different people, but for me, I have not had that experience. So, for example, I was doing a group reading with Amber and a bunch of people, and I witnessed this woman stop I watched her. I was watching her face the whole time. Maybe she thought I was a creep, but I was watching her face in her arm, and I watched her do this.
Was fucked up,
and
of
she
Lana.
was.
Her name is Lana.
That was
Lana.
so fucked up.
It was, because
you
tell
know
what it was. Tell what she was
it
doing.
was.
Sorry, this is where we get upset about charlatans and fakers.
You want me to tell exactly what it was?
I mean, we don't have to talk the exact subject matter, but, the kids and the...
a kid had asked... absolutely. A kid had asked to speak to their father, whom she did not have a good relationship with, and who had recently passed away, and she was not in a good relationship with. So she typed out mean message. Exactly, mean message. That's horrible to do to a child. Especially when I know you are the one doing it.
Yeah, because our hands were on there and you could feel the pull. It was directly
guided. You could see her arm doing it.
Because when I asked the question of my uncle, like, I didn't feel that same thing that was happening.
No, this was straight up her.
This was
her.
That's
fucked up.
And it was after the thing with my uncle, and she was upset
about
the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was really messed up. And this is where, charlatans are not cool when it comes to this kind of divination.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of them.
There are.
And I have done it personally with friends. And again, I don't think I connected with anything. I don't know if I put up too much protections, because I'm a big, when I do, spirit work with the board, I do triple protection. Sometimes you can put up too much.
I got this for a birthday a couple years ago. I've never used it with people. I tried to do a solo, and it just wasn't really it was different. I had a thing anyway.
I would be like, well, let's do it, but I've seen The Conjuring.
I've used spirit boards when I was a teenager before it's one of those don't fuck with shit you don't know kind of things, but I fucked with shit I didn't know more respectfully than my friends that were around fucking with shit. So that said, my experiences with spirit boards have not been so positive because a lot of times, yes, it was obvious, like, people were fucking around. But one of the times where it was obvious, my friends Mary and Jane were definitely fucking around, trying to scare me. And one of two things happened, which, during my research, I'm not sure which now. Because originally, I thought that there was something there that they called through the board, and with their fuckery, pissed off, and then it lived in the corner above my bed for months.
Did it just look down at you?
Oh, all the time. The thing we were talking about from the show Pen 15 earlier couldn't.
Oh my god, I know. I actually almost brought that shit up. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna be like that thing and Pen 15. Because there's like a scene. There's literally a scene where Grandpa's standing over there in the corner, and she's like, "I'm sorry, Grandpa."
Months, yeah. So that's hilarious.
It's funny. Oh my god. Shit. Except for I think she called him Gang Gang. So she's like, "I'm sorry, Gang Gang."
But so this thing was just up there most of the time in my ceiling corner, and at the time I thought something really existed in this house. Or was called to it from our use of this board.
Like a light in the tunnel.
Right. And they fucked around, they were being stupid, and they pissed it off, and now I'm stuck with it. But when we were researching stuff for this episode, I had read some things that made me go, plus I was just listening to a podcast by Weird Horizon, her section on poltergeists, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm not sure if it was a combination of things I heard and things I read or whatever, but a thought occurred that the action of fucking around could have created the thing.
Oh, absolutely. I fully
that
believe
then fucked with me because that was the whole point of it, was to fuck with me.
Oh, I fully believe
either way, I don't know.
That's almost like a manifestation
that was
of
the last
energies.
time I touched a spirit board before this was gifted to me. And you know what? I think I'm gonna I think we will have a special seance party. And
I think that'll be so much fun. I would love that. I am so excited.
That would be, and this is kind of perfect for a spring related one.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and that's as far away from us out
people
as we can get.
We can do a Zoom call, and people, it's like, $10 to get in.
Oh my god, we could. That would be fun.
That would be so much fun. We're just
what do you guys think?
Yeah, do you think that would be fun?
So anyway, sorry guys, I rabbit holed us. But so yeah, those are my main experiences, and actually this pendulum experience where it straight up said, "No, you can't forget how to."
I love that, actually.
Breathe
I think that was you connecting with your higher self again.
Because I wasn't even
your
thinking
spirit
about
guide's
it. And I think I told you that the reason I haven't used my pendulum as much is because sometimes when I'm trying to get cool, instead my adrenaline rises for some reason, which makes my heart rate rise, which makes my hand jitter,
Shake,
and then it fucks the whole thing up.
Right.
So I think the whole reason it worked really well is because I was just demonstrating what it looks like for
And you
these
weren't
guys and
thinking
talking
about
to
it.
you.
Right,
Wasn't
exactly.
thinking about it at all. And all of a sudden it's like, no, you can't die in your sleep from forgetting how to
love
breathe.
that.
Yeah. It was very validating. Thanks, Amber.
So,
you're welcome.
pendulums and Ouija boards in pop culture. This is fun. I just recently watched The Conjuring 2. Love me Ed and Lorraine movies. Me and my husband have been watching them.
Yes.
We're on Insidious 2, which
And
is not
Ed is
technically.
hot.
Yeah, he
Ed
is.
is so
Patrick
hot.
Wilson. Not
He's
technically.
in Fargo season 2.
It's
I
not.
think. Super hot.
I-
Sorry.
no, it's okay.
I didn't mean to derail. I just started picturing it.
Insidious 2 is not technically an Ed and Lorraine movie, but he's in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
There was one movie where, I think it was a Paranormal Activity movie. Please let me know in the comments, where they had Ed and Lorraine in, but they had them, the same actors, but they were playing
Different
themselves as frauds. As frauds. Because there's that conspiracy that Ed and
Right.
Lorraine are frauds. So...
Well,
it
and
was
we
weird. It was
discussed, I
crazy.
don't like, I've seen every one of those movies once. I don't like to watch a lot of that stuff because I feel like it's inviting shit in, and it's just a me thing, right? So I'm not as familiar with those.
I like
so
them.
I really don't.
They're
I
not
don't
scary to
remember.
me. They're thrillers. That's how me and Bryson. They are the best. If there's good scary movies, it's them. You know, I watch horror movies often.
The Conjuring was the first one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
When she was going to kill her kids, I'm sorry. We just watched that one.
Corey and I saw that in theaters without kids because we're not shit parents, I promise. We saw that in theaters, and I about ripped our popcorn thing in half at one point. I think it was when something was coming out from under the sink, maybe. I don't know, but it scared the fucking shit out of me. And like, I don't get scared by movies. So it's not that they are scary to me. It is that the subject matter.
Yes.
It makes
like when The
me
Exorcist
nervous.
came out. The Exorcist came out. There were people throwing up in the fucking. I watched a documentary of that because not because it was so scary, but the subject matter was so taboo and horrible.
It was so I mean,
it's the devil, you know, possession.
Well, and you know have you ever watched the movie?
Not the old one.
Okay, so during the movie,
she fucks herself with a cross.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that too. But there's this thing where while the movie is playing, subliminal messages of a demon face pop up.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, just randomly throughout the whole movie.
I saw where people were
part of what
passing
freaked out
out.
people.
They were throwing up.
Oh yeah,
It
the
like
subject
made a
matter,
whole...
but also like those demon faces, and it was meant to scare the fuck out of you, and it worked.
Oh,
it really worked. My brother and I this is not at all. I didn't think we were going to talk about this.
I know, I'm sorry.
But I have to tell you about my personal experience. The first time I ever saw The Exorcist, I was 13
and
or 14.
It's a true story.
This is a true story. I was 14 years old, which means my brother was 16 years old, and we rented The Exorcist for the first time. We lived in a house where, if this was the living room, right? This is the couch. The TV is over here, and back here is a wall of windows.
Oh,
just
shit.
all windows. Okay. So we're on the couch. We're watching The Exorcist. It's like, I don't know how far into the fucking movie we are, but everything gets really fucking weird. It's right after one of the demon face things, and it scared the shit out of both of us. And we looked at each other, and because we looked at each other, our peripheral vision could see back here. Now, when we started the movie, it was nighttime, and it's still nighttime.
Right.
But the fucking sky is glowing like red and fucking purple, and we both see it. To the point that we freak out, 14 and 16, and we run and get our daddy.
Oh my god.
And we're like, Dad, we're watching The Exorcist, and oh my god, you have to come see the sky. And he knew we had The Exorcist. He took us to the fucking Blockbuster to rent it. Because I am from the age of renting.
I remember it.
I used to walk up there.
My generation was the last Blockbuster generation. I remember it fondly.
Well, my kids were
older.
They had poor parents, so they were also a Blockbuster generation because we didn't have cable back in the day.
Blockbuster.
Every week I went and I rented like 10
a shit ton of movies.
Yes.
That's what we did. A shit ton of fucking movies because we ain't got cable. So
yeah, that's what we did
know.
every week. That was like, we only had one car, so like that day on Corey's day off, that was my one time to see people that I wasn't related to.
Oh my god, I feel that.
Oh my god, yeah.
I just got my car back. Trust me, I
yeah, like I would be like, like so excited. I did all my grocery shopping and my
I love
blockbustering
grocery
and
shopping.
Yeah.
Is that sad?
No, not when you're a stay-at-home mom. Yeah, exactly. That's your socialization time, and that's sad. But
It is, but it's true.
Yeah, no, but it is. It is true. I loved grocery shopping back then because it's you get out of the house. You're not just talking to a baby all day. Your husband is not like, leave me alone. I just got off work,
Right.
and you're like, I've been with kids all day. Talk to me. But I'm getting off track. Anyway, so the red sky, purple sky, freaking me and my brother out. We run and we get our dad. And again, we are 14 and 16, and our dad's like, The Exorcist is really scaring you kids this much? And we're like, no, the sky is scaring us because it's glowing purple and red, like this ball was. My dad comes in, and it's dark and normal outside.
Weird.
He is like, you guys just got scared.
Maybe you saw a meteor and you didn't realize it was a meteor and it was gone by the time your dad came back.
Wow, I didn't even think about it. I just literally, like, I have no idea.
That was my first thought because I've seen where meteors make the sky like that.
Okay, I've never seen the sky glow red and purple.
No,
except
that's a meteor thing.
The first time we saw The Exorcist.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, crazy timing for that.
Right, what the fuck?
Because my dad was laughing at us.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, do you want me to stay and watch the rest of the movie with you? And we're
Yes,
like,
Dad.
fuck you.
Yes.
We couldn't tell him that.
No.
And he wasn't gonna, unless we asked, and we weren't gonna ask. So we manned up.
So, in The Conjuring 2, these little girls make their own Ouija board. It's so cool. They try to connect, and they bring forth a grumpy old man. He's not the bad guy. There's a different bad guy who has trapped the old man in the house. And I knew it, too, because when I watched it the first time, I was like, he doesn't sound evil. He sounds pissed off that somebody's in his house. That's not grumpy. That's a grumpy old man. There's nothing wrong with him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I've only seen the movie the one time, so I don't remember it as well.
Every movie with Ouija boards, there's always something.
And The Exorcist starts with a Ouija board too. It's the kid in The Exorcist that is possessed was playing with a Ouija board at the beginning before she gets possessed.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
dude?
and the kid that The Exorcist is based on, the priest said the reason that he was possessed was because he was playing with a Ouija board before the possession.
And then I bet that scared so many people. They were like, never.
Oh yeah, well, and at that point, Ouija boards were already like considered evil. So like they came out in the late 1880s, right?
Yeah.
And then in 1890, the official Ouija board was created by Elijah Bond, and the Hasbro company sold it, right? And people loved to have seances in their living rooms and like the parlor games of the Ouija board, whatever. But then after World War I, fucking asshole charlatans came in and were using the Ouija board to tell people who had lost people in World War I, like, I can help you connect with your dead loved ones.
That's so shitty.
Yeah, and then Harry Houdini comes in and he's like, I'm gonna fucking debunk you motherfuckers. And so like there's actually a Ouija board in the Harry Houdini Museum because, you know, a huge part of anybody who doesn't know, Maddie and I were talking about this earlier, but a huge part of Harry Houdini's latter career was he took pleasure in and spent a lot of time debunking paranormal
and
experts and stuff and supernatural stuff, because when his mom died, somebody was like, oh, we'll have a seance and I'll connect with your mom for you and you can pay me a shit ton of money. And he was like, you're taking advantage of my feelings and it pisses me off. And so he went around and just debunked all like the ones that would have like the knocking under the table and stuff. He'd prove how they were fucking people over for their money, and good for him. And we need that. You know what? We need that in a spiritual community where people unfortunately are willing to use our religion to take advantage of vulnerable people.
I see things online all the time that's like $350 will save your marriage.
Oh, it's bullshit. It makes me mad.
It makes me mad because those are people who are vulnerable.
Yeah, they are. They are
desperately
trying to save something that is so important in their life, and you're like, you can pay me money, and maybe you believe that you are that powerful. Right. And I am wonderfully happy for you.
I probably don't believe
you. That kind of power, but yeah. I don't believe that you should be marketing that.
Yeah, I agree.
If you want to help people save their marriage because you have that kind of power to erase all the hurt that this marriage has suffered and make them love each other again,
Okay,
do that shit out of the kindness of your heart, motherfucker.
Okay, Jesus.
Right? Exactly. I'm just saying, like, you know what? I believe in magic. I believe in witchcraft. I believe in energy and the opportunity and possibility of manipulating it and manifesting what you want.
Exactly.
That said, I think it's wrong to market to people who have lost loved ones or are losing loved ones and say,
what is the one we saw? It was about pets.
Earlier.
It was about pets. It was,
it was somebody who can cure your pet's separation anxiety through like chakra work.
It was like long distance chakra work. And that, to me, that's taking advantage of pet lovers.
Right.
You know,
like you're going to get my chihuahua pets from across the world and I can pay you money.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, mostly it's Ouija.
So.
You don't see a lot of pendulum. They are in the Ed and Lorraine one because Ed and Lorraine Lorraine uses that, but mostly it's Ouija, and I think there's a movie even called Ouija.
Yeah, there's several movies. Yeah.
And they're never good, never seen in a positive light. You know, and I think that's part of where the bad rep comes from.
Well, and I mean. Well, the bad rep came before, right?
Oh, like, absolutely. You know, but it keeps it going.
It keeps it going, exactly. Yeah. Because, so some interesting little tidbits I want to tell everybody about Ouija boards. There was a writer named Emily Hutchings who wrote a fucking novel and said she channeled it on a Ouija board from Mark Twain's ghost. I know.
You're lying, bitch.
I am not.
My God,
that's why I wrote it down so I could tell you guys about it. And there was a poet named James Merrill who won awards for this thing. 560-page epic poem in 3 separate pieces.
Written on a Ouija?
That he says he channeled from a Ouija board.
I could see maybe a 3-sentence.
560 pages.
Good God.
Poem.
Maybe you could write a little poem that's 3 or 4 words.
Imagine the amount of fucking time.
Right? Oh my God.
I mean, I just don't even. I don't know.
I don't believe it.
And then Aleister Crowley is probably the reason that these are viewed as evil. He loved his Ouija board. He actually was working with somebody to create their own Ouija board. Oh, wow. And then that fell apart. But
you know, a lot of people like Aleister Crowley. I personally am not a fan, but that's okay. I can have my own personal beliefs, just like you can like him.
I mean, you know, my favorite thing about Aleister Crowley is the Ozzy Osbourne song, or I'm sorry, the Black Sabbath song. Mr. Crowley. I love that song.
I like that the King of Hell is named Crowley in Supernatural.
Yeah. Anytime I read
write that down, baby name Crowley. My mother-in-law would shit her pants. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, yeah.
But it's not a bad name.
No.
Now that I say it out loud.
If my youngest was a boy, I wanted to name her Lucifer, and my husband was like, no.
That's no.
And I was like, but it's light bearer. It means light bearer. So I went with Lucian, but then she was a girl, so
I like Lucian. That's
love
pretty.
Lucian. Yeah.
I
was kind of sad she was. Well, I mean, no, I love my daughters.
Lolly.
We were just talking
both
about
L's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say your daughter's
No, it's fine. I've said their names.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
I like Lucian. I'll write that down.
I like it. Yeah, I was like Lucian or Lucius, and it could have been either one. It would have depended on what I felt like.
I like
writing that birth certificate.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I like them both, Lucian and Lucius. They're both beautiful names.
Well, I think Lucian means lizard, or Lucius means lizard. One of them means lizard.
I'm pretty sure Lucian has to do with light.
Oh, okay. Well, one of them means lizard.
I'm not positive. Don't quote me.
I think, unless
you guys know.
If I'm wrong, then I absolutely fucking apologize. But I'm pretty sure it's lizard because in Harry Potter, Draco's name is Draco, and that means dragon. Mm-hmm. Lucius is his father, so to me it makes sense that it would be lizard. And their mother is Narcissus, which is a flower. Mm-hmm. Or no, it's not. I mean, it is, but it's also a goddess, right? It is a goddess. Goddess of revenge, right?
No, it's where the word narcissist comes from.
Exactly.
It's the youth who thought he was so beautiful he drowned staring at his reflection in the pond.
Good God. But what a fucked up family. You know? But all beautiful names, actually. I'm going to write down... no, I can't. I was like, I'm going to write down Draco. Nope, Harry Potter ruined it.
Yeah, no, I feel that. So, let's see. Was there any other pop culture? I'm trying to think.
I think all the pop culture is the same. Don't fuck with the Ouija board.
Yeah, it's horror
pretty much.
movies. And,
Exactly.
yeah.
So I think we're coming to a close for this episode.
Yeah,
then.
I think so.
Check out our next episode. We're going to be discussing gnomes. I'm very excited about this.
Super excited.
Or earth dwellers.
Yes.
That's fun. That is so much fun.
I get to talk about Dama boys again.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Yay! No,
Yeah,
we're good.
they are like little gnomes.
They are. Well, I mean, they're the Slavic bird, but you got
You gotta watch the episode. So if you haven't already,
before we
right.
our patrons. Our top tier patron, Dallin and
Melissa.
Melissa.
Thank
who,
you
like,
so
I
much.
wrote your name down as Michelle earlier. And I'm like, where the fuck did that come from?
I don't know, because I was like,
yeah, she was like, it's not Michelle.
What?
And I was like, oh, you're right, it's not. And then she's like, should we check? And I was like, no, you're right, it's Melissa. So Melissa and Dallin.
yes.
We appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much.
We hope you have friends soon. You know.
Yes, and if you're interested in getting your own shout out on our podcast, check out our Patreon. The link will be in the description, correct?
Absolutely.
We're also, or if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Please. Yes. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Any of your thoughts. Would you use a Ouija board? Do you ever use pendulums?
Or do you stay away from both?
Can you see these on the screen? I can't tell. My glasses are kind of taking a little glare, so I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. But if you want to see up close pictures, we're going to get some photography on our Instagram at Witches Talking Tarot. And if you want to reach out to us in any way, shape, or form, hit us up at Classiest Witches on Twitter.
Yes. All right, guys. See you later.
Thanks for coming to sit with us for a spell.